Welcome everyone. This is a prenatal class designed to prepare you for labor and birth and invite in a sense of clarity in both mind and body. So we'll begin with a short active meditation, and then we'll do some postures that we feel into a little bit of intensity to kind of mimic this idea of riding the waves of the surges or contractions that come about in labor. And then we'll settle into more of a lull or a space in between the intensity so that you can find some reprieve in between the postures. So to begin, we're going to do a meditation called Preparing for Birth and Labor, which is to leave the fear behind and welcome the challenge. So you can do this meditation for up to 7 minutes. Today we're going to do it for 2 minutes. I will demonstrate the breath and the posture, and then we will jump right in. So to start, you're going to have your hands out to the sides, palms facing outwards, and arms about shoulders height. And our inhale is going to bring the arms up over the head. You're going to cross the wrists, and then our exhale will bring us right back down to where we started. And then we'll go up again. Inhale, you can switch the cross of the arms. And then as you exhale, you're going to come back down to where you started. We can keep the eyes closed here with the gaze moving up towards the third eye. Go ahead and relax your arms to take a break there before we begin. I'm going to set us a timer. And as I mentioned, we'll go for 2 minutes to start. And if this is something that you are enjoying, you can continue to build up to 7 minutes. So when you're ready, arms out to the sides, palms facing outwards. And to begin, inhale, the arms come up, cross the wrists, don't let the arms touch. And exhale to bring the wrists back to shoulders height. Inhale up, and exhale down. And keep that going. Nice and steady through your breath and your movement. Think of washing away, clearing out any doubt, any fear, any resistance, any hesitation. Welcoming the challenge, welcoming the intensity, welcoming the unknown with a sense of strength and clarity and ease. Here, you may begin to feel a bit of fatigue or intensity and the desire to release the arm postures. But see if you can dig a little bit deeper, steady the breath, and carry on. You only have about 30 seconds left. Last 10. Last 1, inhale. And as you exhale, bring the arms all the way down. As you do, again, just think of clearing out the field around you. Resting the hands on the legs or in the lap. Just take a moment here to take a few slow and steady breaths. Feeling the spine lengthen. As you inhale and as you exhale, feel a settling down or a rooting into the earth beneath. Good. We'll go into a gentle side body stretch here, bringing the right arm out to the side. And inhale, circle the left arm up. And reaching all the way over to the right, anchoring down your left hip, drawing the left shoulder down the back, maybe circling the heart and the belly up towards the sky. And as you take another breath or two here, while we're stretching through the left side, see if you can inhale to lengthen through the right side as well. And we'll inhale to rise. Left arm comes down. And then bring the right arm up. And leaning all the way over to the left. Same cues here, anchoring down through the right hip, drawing the right shoulder down the back as you stretch long through the right hand and fingers. Maybe circling the belly and the heart skyward. And using your in-breaths to create length through both the left and the right side body. Next inhale brings you up, and then exhale to release. We'll go into a gentle twist here. You can bring your right hand slightly behind you. Inhale the left arm up to the sky, and then turning to the right, and bring the left hand to the left knee, the thigh, wherever you can reach. Especially as your belly grows fuller. You may not go as deep into the stretch. We don't want to compress the belly at all. So again, think of creating length through the sides and using a gentle twist to open up through the chest, expanding the collarbones from left to right. We'll take one more inhale here. Exhale and twist. We'll bring the left hand behind us. Inhale the right arm up. And then exhale, turn to the left. Right hand comes to the knee or the thigh. Once you take hold, inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, deepen into your twist. And again, as you get further along in your pregnancy, it may come less from the belly and more from the upper body, expanding through the chest and the shoulders. Inhaling here. Exhale to unwind. Let's switch the cross of the legs. And then from here, just like we had our arms, our wrists extending out in the first posture, we're going to do the same, but we're going to go forward. So you're going to flip your wrists, palms going forward, and then bring the fingers down to the ground in front of you. And from there, we're going to try to stretch through the wrists and the forearms. So start to bring the palms towards the ground. Maybe they come all the way to the ground, maybe they don't. But finding a nice stretch through the hands, through the wrists. And as you do that, just notice if the shoulders are coming up towards the ears and see if we can lengthen the shoulders away from the ears. Get nice and long through your neck. Maybe slightly tuck your chin so the back of the neck is long. And this is kind of our first easing into some of the intensity, even though it's a fairly gentle stretch that isn't requiring too much of us. It may be enough where you still have to find moments of breathing deeper. To be able to rest more into the posture. There's this cycle that we go through with contractions and surges that happen Whereas when we feel a sense of tension or intensity, if there's any fear or hesitation or doubt, we may want to contract and almost like run out of it. The more we can breathe and drop deeper into the opening, the smoother and easier the process will be in the expansion. Okay, let's take one more full cycle of breath here. And then nice and slow, we're going to peel the hands off the ground. Yeah, let's make fists and take circles of the wrists. Move in both directions. And then from here, we're going to make our way into tabletop position. So finding your way onto hands and knees. And to start, we'll just sway the hips gently side to side. For our cat-cows today, rather than a traditional forward and backwards cat-cow, we're going to take more of a spiral movement or a barrel movement. So you can either keep your hands and arms and shoulders where they're at and just circle through the pelvis. Or if you want to take it through the spine and into the upper body, you're going to round your spine through cat posture and then rock your ribs to one side, scoop them down and through as if you were scraping out the last little bit of nut butter in a jar, circling around the entire spine. And then whether you're making circles in your pelvis or you're taking the more barrel type movement, we will reverse directions, moving in the opposite way. I always like to close my eyes for this one too, to just drop in and feel into how the body wants to move. Great practice for what I like to call labor land, where we just sink in, kind of traversing between realms and dropping out of the mind and into the body and moving and breathing and sounding in any way that being called to do. Starting to wrap that up. And then from here we'll come through neutral spine. And then we're going to take what's called broken toe pose. So you can walk your knees in a little bit, curl your toes, and then you want to spread your toes as wide as you can. You may even need to reach back and help your toes spread, especially that pinky. And then from there, you're going to lean back and you're going to come to sit on your toes. So we'll just start here. You can rest your hands on your thighs. And you may feel the intensity already. So again, if so, anchor down, use your breath. Know that your toes will not break. And something that was really helpful for me with my first delivery that a friend of mine explained before I went into the birth portal is that the contractions or surges are just like the wave. And so they slowly build and they'll reach this point of a peak in intensity. And usually as soon as they get to that peak point, where we feel like we may not be able to go on any longer, then just like a wave crashes and breaks, it starts to dissipate. And then we find a little bit of a lull. Take about 5 more breaths here. And even if you need to, you can use sound as well. It's super helpful during labor. But if you do find a sense of sound, you want to make it nice and deep. So you want to think of dropping it down into your pelvis, or humming or oming. So the energy is descending to bring baby down and out. We'll take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly come out. And then point through the toes. You can either tap the feet out here, or you can come onto the knees, scrunch the toes, roll the ankles. It's also great if you're wearing closed-toed shoes a lot or in high heels. Increase the circulation in the legs. And then from here, you're going to come to sit onto your heels. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can put a block or a pillow or a bolster, or if you want to just sit into a cross-legged seat, you can do that as well. We're going to do a little bit of movement and intensity in the arms and the fingers. So this time you're going to inhale, reach your arms over your head. Spread your fingers wide. And then we're just going to open and close. So make fists and open. And we'll keep that going for as long as we can to feel into a bit of intensity. And again, you're kind of reaching that max point of the sensation and trying to move a little bit beyond that. So reaching our edge and finding that strength and willingness to surrender to what is and stay with it and lean into it. A couple more. Using your breath if it's feeling like a lot. Another breath that also helps during labor, especially as things are getting intense, is what they call horse breath. So we'll do just a few here as we do our last couple rounds. And you inhale through your nose, and as you exhale, you let your lips flutter. Let's do that 2 times. Inhale. One more inhale. Okay, let's release the arms. And then come back onto hands and knees. Good, and from here we're going to find downward facing dog. So curling the toes, lifting the hips, and stretching back. So taking as wide of a stance as you need to for the belly. Then once you come into dog, if it feels nice, you can pedal out your feet.
You can sway your hips, finding any sort of gentle movement. Just settle into the posture for a few cycles of breath. And then we'll inhale to look forward and step the right foot forward. I like to bring it to the outside of the right hand. And let's bring the back knee down. If you have some blocks or something to bring your hands onto for extra height, that can be quite nice. And then from here, we're just going to gently rock a little bit forward and back before we settle in. And using your breath to guide the movement. Next time you come back into your lunge, we're going to take lizard posture. So settling into a nice deep lunge here. If this is enough for you, staying on your hands, you can stay here. If you have blocks and you want to come onto your forearms on the blocks, you can do that. If you can reach the floor without any sort of prop, you can also do that. So you can come straight forward if that feels good. I also find it's nice to go at a slight angle, so you can walk your upper body towards the left a little bit and take a little bit of a wider stance. But finding a spot for you where, again, you can kind of meet this point of intensity. But not going so far that you need to contract to stay in the posture. So if you go onto your forearms or your hands and it feels like too much, and you find yourself clenching your jaw or tensing through the face or unable to take a deep breath, see if you can ease up a little bit. Take 3 more rounds of breath. And then wherever you are, slowly start to make your way up and out. And then we'll find our way back into downward facing dog. Inhale deeply here, and exhale, let it go. And next inhale brings you forward. Left foot comes all the way to the outside of your left hand. Back knee comes down. And before we settle in again, you can rock forward and back, stretching into the left leg and hip. And then next time you come forward into the lunge, we'll Settle in there. And finding your lizard posture. So ideally, same variation that you did on the other side, but if you need to adjust accordingly, please do so. And again, you can build into that intensity. You can stay up for a few breaths and slowly make your way down. Or if you're ready to dive right into the full posture, it's available to you whenever you are ready. Just returning to the little anchors of relaxing the jaw, softening the muscles around the eyes. And then from here, slowly coming up and out, finding your lunge and making your way back into downward facing dog. So same other side. Inhale, the right leg comes forward. Back knee comes down. And then turning to the left, your left foot comes behind you. You're still in more of a lunge posture of the right leg. And then either leaning back, sitting on the heel, or sitting up on a block. Good. And then your right hand can come to the knee. I like to stretch my arm out, helping to keep the knee open. And settling in here, taking a few breaths. It can feel nice to kind of pulse into it, or just find stillness, sitting up nice and tall. Maybe bringing your left hand to the belly. And we'll take a couple breaths here. Slowly making your way forward, coming back towards your lunge, and downward facing dog. Okay, let's bring our knees down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to return to that broken toe pose and the stretching of the hands. So we're going to put both of them together. So curling the toes, spreading them wide, leaning back onto your heels. And then we're also going to reach the arms up, spread the fingers wide, and then open and close here. Deepening the breath. And again, I like to keep my eyes closed just because it helps me to drop into my body. Especially once you're in labor, you can visualize every surge, every contraction, every sensation, bringing you closer and closer to meeting your baby. Knowing that all of the intensity, all of the challenge, all of the hard work, the true labor that is taking place is your body and your baby working together to bring life into form. couple more breaths. Stick with it. Dig deep. Sounds are okay. Smiling is also helpful. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, come on out. Again, you can point the toes, you can tap the feet, you can roll the ankles, scrunch and spread the toes. Taking a nice deep breath. And we have one more standing posture before we bring it down. So finding downward dog one last time. And then from here you can step either foot forward. And then you're going to walk yourselves over towards the long end of your mat. So we're going to take a nice wide stance in the legs. And then let's walk the hands forward a little bit. So it's almost like you're in a downward dog of your upper body. And then melt the head and the heart forward and down. I like to kind of sway the hips a little bit as I settle in. Getting a slight stretch through the inseams of the legs. And eventually just settling into stillness here for a few deep breaths. If this feels like too much for you, to have the head lower than the heart, you can always take this with the arms on a chair or a table or a dresser so that you can still receive a nice spinal stretch. Without as deep of an inversion. And then even here, I think broadening through your shoulders. So pressing down specifically through the pointer finger and thumb mound. And then think of wrapping the pinky side of the shoulders down and in towards your heart. So it broadens the upper back, the space between the shoulder blades. And then imagine someone had like a scarf or a belt around the hips and could draw the pelvis back, creating a little bit more length and space in the lower back, the spine. Just feeling everything settle here. We'll take another round of breath. And then very slowly you're going to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, heel toe your feet in, and then coming to sit on your heels. And we're just going to take a little bit of a quad stretch here to open up through the front thighs. So let's actually do one at a time. So you're sitting on your heels. Let's lean over to the left and bring your right foot out. So you bend your right knee. You can take it a little bit wider. And bring the sole of the foot to the ground. And then from here, bring your hands behind you. You can turn your fingers back. Scoop your tailbone towards your knee. And lean back. Hopefully getting a gentle stretch here through the upper thigh. If you have the flexibility to do so and you want to come further down onto your forearms, you're totally welcome to do that. Just be mindful not to overstretch through the front body, especially as we're further along. We're already stretching locked through the belly. So getting enough of a stretch through the front thigh while remaining fairly neutral through the belly and the chest. Good. We'll inhale to make our way up. And switch sides, so the right foot comes back down. Lean to the right. Take out the left foot. And then when you're ready, start to walk your hands behind you, leaning back. And then you can even lift your seat, draw the tailbone down towards the knee, and settle back in. Next inhale, you can bring yourself up. And then let's take it forward for a brief child's pose. So you can bring your knees wide. You can even have your feet a little bit wider if that feels good. And then walk your hands forward, melting the head and the heart towards the earth. You can either keep your hands wide. If it feels good to you, you can also take your hands closer towards prayer posture over the head. And maybe even bending the elbows, drawing the prayer mudra towards the back of the neck. And if you do so, and even if you don't, taking this moment as an opportunity to express gratitude for the process. And even setting any intentions, seeds of manifestation for your labor and delivery. And slowly making your way up and out. So I'm going to invite you to take a comfortable seat, sitting onto the heels if that feels okay. You can also come into a cross-legged seat, or if you prefer to find Shavasana, you can take Shavasana on your side, preferably on your left side and supported with pillows. I'm going to end in a seated meditation. So finding whatever position feels best for you right now. And taking one hand to your heart, one hand around your belly. just one of those options depending on what seat you've taken. Allowing the eyes to feel closed. Bringing your inner gaze down towards your heart, down into your womb. And just feel into the expansion and the clarity that you've created through this practice. Using these few moments here to just call in anything that you're bringing into your birth. And whatever comes through, comes through. So this may be something that you are specifically wanting to channel and manifest for your experience. Some things may come through that might be your baby's wishes for the experience. Dropping into a place of trust and knowing that there is a divine intelligence at play. Your body and your baby know what to do to work together. Have the experience that you both need to have through this process of transformation. Sharing your practice with me and wishing you all of the best on the remainder of your journey.